Welcome to a Nongkrong Nation, or other words, Indonesia. Hi, my name's Esther Sakandi, and for my Capstone project, I want to explore the concept of community. After living here in Indonesia for 9 months, my perspective on what it means to be connected has completely shifted. When I think about my life in Georgia, going to Target with my friends, running school clubs, taking walks through my neighborhood, or just going to the park to play some tennis, I realized that community for me back home was often something I had to seek out or schedule. Before I arrived here, I knew Indonesia valued community, but I didn't understand how it was built and how it was built so quickly. I wanted to uncover the mechanics of that connection, the third space culture that thrives here, and compare it to the world I grew up in and the world that I currently live in, online and in real life. To ground my project, I started by calling a friend back in America. I wanted to hear her take on what constitutes a third space for us. Does it exist in the way that we think it does? Our conversation highlighted a major difference. In the US, our third spaces are often highly commercialized. If you're at a coffee shop or a mall, there's an unspoken expectation that you have to consume or be productive. Here's a little bit more from Kaylee Hernandez from Oconee County High School on her idea of third space culture in America.
So in America, we have places like parks, for example, Thomas Preserve Park where I live, and it's just a place where community can gather up. You can go walk around, have picnics, fish if you want to, you can run, you can exercise, there's lots of rivers and everything. It's just a very good and free third space to freely be in without anyone expecting anything of you. But in places like cafes and the mall, it's pretty expected of you to buy something to kind of be there, although it's not something that's said. It's something that's more so implied, and so it shows the difference of the third spaces. Because, for example, like parks, you don't have to pay, but a place like a cafe or a shopping center, you do, and that's the difference.
I then decided to take my camera to my local mall in Palembang. In America, the mall is a transaction. In Indonesia, it's a living room. I interviewed many locals, customers, and workers at the mall, and I've noticed something profound, that people here stroll, sit, and socialize for hours without the pressure of spending money. It isn't a retail destination, it's a cultural hearth. The statistics back this up. Malls in Indonesia are designed to be community centers, serving as a social function that American retail spaces often miss.
Halo Kak, nama Anda siapa?
Aina.
Aina, oke. Apa 3 hal yang orang dari Amerika tidak mengerti tentang Indonesia?
Banyak ya.
Itu satu hal ya.
Satu hal nggak ngerti tentang Indonesia, mungkin nggak ngerti.
I asked Aina what are 3 things Americans cannot understand about Indonesia, and one of the things she mentioned is that a foreigner would think that attire Indonesians wear to the mall is quite strange because of how dressed up they come to the mall. But that's because it's a social center. In America, malls are more of a commercial center. You're not necessarily there to take photos, you're there to buy clothes and eat food. But at Indonesia, it is a social center. It's where you celebrate milestones, you go hang out with your family, where you have big moments with all the people in your life. So she says this is one thing that is lebih Indonesia, or a bit more Indonesia that someone from America might not understand.
Nama Anda siapa?
Nama saya Putri.
Saya dengan budaya Amerika dari budaya Indonesia, dan satu orang dari Amerika datang ke Indonesia. Ada satu hal mereka tidak bisa mengerti tentang Indonesia.
I went to ask Putri the same thing. She said one thing that American might not understand is the idea of a mall being high quality. Even as one of the stores that she works at being a high quality store or something considered a little bit more expensive, even though there are expensive restaurants and stores in American malls, Indonesia malls are the place to go to have luxury, to take a chance to, have fine dining and take the photos and be able to experience wealth. So that is something that she believes Americans would not understand.
Nama kalian siapa?
Nama aku Vina Abdin Saputri. Nama aku Dewa.
Okay.
I then went to ask 2 university students from Unsri and Palembang a similar question, and they responded that American might find the idea of hanging out at a mall for hours without buying something a little weird. Even though there's a lot of luxury stores and expensive things to buy at the mall, or even just cheap vendors where you can buy a drink or a little snack, it is completely socially acceptable to not buy anything at the mall and walk around for hours. Rather, in America, you might feel pressured that you have to. It's more of a transactional idea of the more time you spend, the more money you should spend. I then decided to go sit down with some students from SMA Kusuma Bangsa and SMA 17 to dig deeper. I went
Banyak, tapi aku tahu pasti banyak orang luar yang salah paham tentang Indonesia. Menurut kalian, apa satu hal yang sering salah dipahami orang luar tentang negara?
to see if our perceptions on third space were colored by the stereotypes we hold about each other's countries. What I discovered is that Indonesian third spaces are defined by togetherness. When I first arrived, I was confused when people would constantly ask me, "Who are you going to go there with?" I was used to going to places by myself. Being an independent American teenager, going to a cafe alone somewhere is low-key the norm. But here, there is an unspoken nature of space that tells people that they should never be alone, that they should go places together and continue to make that community. This communal expectation makes mingling and just being able to understand each other effortless.
Oke, halo semuanya. Nama kalian siapa?
Aku Valerie, akademik.
Okay. It's okay.
I also feel like sometimes they're also nicer. Yeah. It's more easy to talk to.
More easy to
Yeah.
talk to. I see. And if you had to think about, so America, most times when people go out, they go out by themselves, like
Yeah.
to like cafes or like malls or things like that. How would you say that's different from Indonesia? And do you think it's better to like always go someplace with someone else, or do you want to try going alone?
I personally like going out with someone.
Mm.
Me too, because I think going out by yourself is quite boring.
Yeah.
So I think I prefer going out with friends or family. Yeah, it's more fun and enjoyable.
Yes. Okay, period. That's all I have to ask. Okay. Let me look up the question. Waktu online di Instagram, TikTok, atau group chat. Apakah kamu merasa diri online kamu lebih Indonesia, lebih Western atau global, atau campurnya keduanya?
Kalau dari aku, karena aku banyak menggunakan media sosial kayak Instagram atau TikTok, aku merasa aku lebih tahu budaya luar negeri, tapi aku juga tetap mempertahankan budaya aku. Kalau dari aku banyak melihat budaya luar juga, tapi most of it tuh lebih ke Indonesia aja.
I see. Oh.
Kalau dari aku sebenarnya seimbang sih, jadi antara budaya luar sama budaya Indonesia tuh sama-sama aja, ibaratnya juga cepet karena lewat sosial media.
But what happens when you can't physically go to a third space? This is where the internet comes in. For many students I spoke to in Palembang who haven't had the chance to meet many foreigners, they use social media as that gateway. You know, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook has become their primary third space. It's not just screen time, it's a portal to the global community. It's a tool for bridge building in a country where connectivity is a cultural priority. And then I go on to ask them what they feel about this third space. Do they feel a little bit more Indonesian or global, and how that kind of affects their idea of themselves.
We all spend a lot of time on the internet, and we see Instagram online, and it's a way to connect to the world. Do you feel less or more Indonesian when you're online, when you're connecting on like TikTok?
My social media is mixed. I feel like I have a balanced feeling.
I see.
It's never not too many Indonesians and never not too many English people.
Okay, period. Thank you.
As I wrap up this project, I keep coming back to one concept: gotong royong, the Indonesian spirit of mutual cooperation and working together. It's more than just a phrase, it's the heartbeat of this country's social and cultural life. While my time is coming to an end, I feel this wasn't back home with me. Community is a place you go, it's a commitment you make to be present with others. Whether it's a crowded mall in Palembang or a quiet park in Georgia, the strength of our third spaces ultimately depends on how we choose to show up for each other. That's why I decided to bring some of my third space culture here to Indonesia by starting my own Spanish club, hosting get-togethers with my classmates, and just overall finding activities to do, whether we were doing paddle or painting at a cafe. I always wanted to be able to give them something to take away from our meetings that I organized.
Yo vivo en Palembang. Me gusta hacer bailar, pintar y